7 years ago, my sister had an affair with my ex-husband. We were still married at the time. I believed happily, and she was his mistress. I caught them together and banished both from my life. I divorced him, and I told her to get away from me. They stayed together for a couple of years and had a child. My sister tried to reconcile with me 5 different times, but I rejected her and told her I would never forgive her for what she did. I did call her some names and wish for some bad things to happen to her. I hoped for him to cheat on her and destroy her life as they did mine, and I told her she deserved it all and not to cry to me if she caught anything off of him. I actually did a full STD panel after finding out he'd been cheating on me with her. I was negative, but you can never be too careful, and he never denied there being more. I've been 100% no contact with my sister since then, and I never met her child, not even when my ex cheated on her while she was pregnant and she ended up homeless. I told our family members I would not accept being around her. A couple of weeks ago, this guy reached out to me. He's engaged to my sister and was angry that I wasn't there to meet him at the dinner my parents hosted to meet him for the first time. He said my sister was so upset, etc., that she had wanted me to forgive her, etc. He felt I was terrible to be mad at her for dating an ex of mine. I corrected him and said she was his mistress, that I was married to him, still actively married, when they had an affair. And I told him I caught them in my home and in my bed. He didn't reply several days afterward. My sister showed up and was angry at me for telling him what I'd done because he'd left her. She told me I should be willing to put the past behind us and reconcile, and stop treating her like she's a criminal or evil. She said I act like she repulses me. I told her because she does, and I told her my feelings hadn't changed in 7 years. She cried and told me one of us could die, and we'd never reconcile if I wasn't willing to try. I said I wouldn't care. I told her she could die tomorrow, and I wouldn't regret my decision not to reconcile. I told her I no longer cared what happened to her, or if she was okay. She left in tears. My parents were so angry that she confronted me. They'd already been disgusted with her being the other woman, but to confront me for correcting her lie, they said it showed she hadn't grown at all. Well, my aunt told me I had no need to be so cruel. After time had passed, she told me I was treating my sister worse than she treated me, and that I should be ashamed of myself. As saying I wouldn't care if she died is an evil thing to say to anyone, let alone family. Am I the idiot, not the idiot? I can't imagine claiming to love my siblings and then having a full-blown affair in their heart home with their spouse. I'd be angry at my ex, but my own flesh and blood? That's a level of betrayal 100% of people would have a tough time getting over. She didn't care about you one bit while she was your husband's mistress. She didn't care about you one bit when she continued to stay with him and have a child with him. I wouldn't care one bit about her either. She only wants you back now because you were right, and he left her high and dry. These are my exact thoughts. She also never truly regretted her actions. If she actually created a scene at a family dinner about OP being absent, she doesn't acknowledge the gravity of her actions. If she hadn't created the drama, her fiancé wouldn't have called you. Frankly, he sounds like it. She is the perpetual victim, and the family enables her. You must go low, no contact, and live your best life. Yeah, she's dumb as a bag of hair. While her crime is having an affair with your husband, her stupidity is letting the new boyfriend within 1,000 miles of you. She knows you hold a grudge, and then she makes up some crap and gives him your number. Sister totally overplayed her victim's hand. It read very much like the Barbara Sin effect. P.S. Tell your aunt to get lost and ask her who she cheated with. My wife, 30, Laura, and I, 35, male, have toddler children and have been married for 5 years. Laura is a stay-at-home mom to our boys and takes the boys 3 days a week to take care of her grandmother, who has dementia. The other 4 days, a nurse comes in. I work in retail management. My typical schedule is 1 p.m. to 10 p.m., with a 1-hour lunch if I choose to take it. I live about 45 minutes from my job, and I like to head out a bit early, get a coffee and a quick bite, and send some emails from a cafe before walking into work. This means I typically leave the house between 8:30 and 9 a.m. in the mornings. After work, I'm often frustrated, so I stop by the 24-hour gym where I'm a member and run the treadmill or lift weights for a bit. That puts me at home at 12 o'clock or just after. On weekends, I often have things planned with family or friends, and these tend to take up a portion of my day. Hey, Laura is telling me I need to stick around to help her more in the mornings. She's insisting my routine isn't all that important, and I'm making her feel like a single mom. From my perspective, I enjoy my routine. I get some peace and quiet, and it's a nice way to prepare for and end my day. Laura wants me to be at home until she either leaves with the boys to her grandmother's or until it's closer to noon. If I did that, I'd completely miss being able to go to the cafe and deal with emails while I mentally prepare myself for the day. She doesn't mind me going to the gym so much, as she's usually asleep by the time I get home. I've offered to ask my sister or mom to come over and help her in the mornings a day or two a week, but she rejected that idea. I've offered a compromise of sorts, but Laura tells me I haven't. Am I the idiot for taking a little time to myself in the mornings? You are the idiot, leaving the house at 8 a.m. then returning at midnight. Do you even like your wife? Your kids? When do you see each other? How many times a week are you two having intimacy or spending quality time? How many times a week are you sitting and asking your kids about their day? Not only are you abandoning your wife with a house full of children and elderly care, but you're being a terrible husband by failing to sit down with your wife and kids every day and be part of their lives. I would leave, honestly, if my husband was just being this absent, boring cats in the cradle breadwinner whose only contribution to the family's daily life is a paycheck. She deserves a person who spends time with her. Either be that, or she'll find a man who can do both. Lots of them out there, seriously. 4 hours is a little time. I feel bad for his wife. My God, how many non-work-related emails does he have that he needs 12 to 16 hours a week to answer them? You leave for work 4 hours before you have to come in, and you go to the gym until midnight. Rinse and repeat. On top of that, you spend the weekend with friends and family. You're not being a father or a husband. OP, when does Laura get her daily dose of peace and quiet? How much time does she get to be responsibility-free, to get into her routine and enjoy herself? When does she get a chance to prepare for and end her day? You are the idiot, and fairly foolish if Laura already feels like a single mother. She's probably pretty close to realizing that if you split up, she'll get more time off. And that's if she even has primary custody. If she gets a part-time job and goes for 50-50 custody, well, her workload will go down, and yours will skyrocket. I'm a 32-year-old male who has dated my ex-girlfriend, 31, for 7 months now. At the start, she told me she was fresh out of a breakup, but it wasn't anything serious. I took that as we went, and the first 5 months were amazing. She was truly my dream girl. 2 months ago, I started noticing behavior changes, and obviously, I started getting my suspicions. But not until a week ago, after she was constantly glued to her phone, did I decide to do what I never wanted to do and snoop on her phone. I memorized her passcode, checked her messages, and saw her texting a guy, her ex-boyfriend. I'll call him Alex. I also saw some other messages with her BFF, who I'm friendly with, but we never chat. I trusted her to be a good judge of character. So after these suspicious messages, I decided to text her BFF on my own accord the following morning, asking her about Alex. She told me that they were high school lovers for over 13 years, so it was clearly more serious than she'd ever led me to believe. She then went on to ask me what had happened, and I said she'd been distant. I snooped on her phone, and then she pretty much filled in the blanks about her behavior. Her friend told me I deserved better, as she even tried to talk reason to her, but she fell back for him. I thanked her for her honesty and told her she should get a better friend. After that, I went home the following night and removed my key from her key ring. I packed what crap she had in my apartment into a box and told her to get out and not return. A text message I sent explained that the camera in my living room was active, so she better not destroy my place. I did all this in a text, as I woke up earlier than normal, drove to the local waterside, and chilled in my car while I waited for my message to be delivered. I then blocked her and waited for my cameras to pick up her leaving. Since her leaving, I've gotten a spam of calls from a random number, which I assume is her. Her mom said I was too quick to judge, as they had real love. I told her to go away and blocked her also. A friend who has now cut ties with my ex has been a great friend and honestly helping me out through this rough time. So, am I the idiot? My approach was cold and sure. I was probably rude to a mom, but her words deserved it in my opinion. Wow, you're going through exactly what I went through this past October. My ex's high school sweetheart decided to walk back into her life. It only took one text for her to cheat on me. The only thing is, I didn't figure it out until after she broke up with me. You're not the idiot, man. She was going to cheat, straight out breaking boundaries, and not even letting you know that she's talking to him. Emotional cheating at its finest. I love how you told her terrible mom to go away too. That witch knew what her sorry daughter was up to the whole time. Apparently, cheating is okay if there's real love there. Look, Op, you could have handled this better, but you're only together for 7 months, and she's already cheating on you. In fact, she has one foot out the door from day one. So, it's time to move along. For context, the baby's 100th day is celebrated in my culture with a small party. Essentially, family and friends gather between the 4th and 6th months of age. At this point, the infant takes her first mouthful of solid food and selects an item that is presumably meant to predict her future. It's stupid but fun. For example, my daughter chose a pen, so we think she'll be interested in studying. Additionally, everyone brings gifts for the baby. The family usually gives gold, and friends give baby products. I've been with my husband for 6 years, and I can tell you that his family doesn't really like me. For the first 4 years of our relationship, I put a lot of effort into it. But once we were engaged and his family wasn't too enthusiastic, I gave up. Even though we still get together for celebrations, birthdays, and other events, I no longer try to speak with them. When we got engaged, my husband assured me that I didn't have to put in a lot of effort to win his family's approval, so I quit. My in-laws haven't had a major part in our lives since we got married. We only see them 4 or 5 times a year. I invited them to this celebration since they hadn't seen our baby yet. They were hesitant, attempting to argue that this isn't how we do things in our family and that we don't understand your foreign culture. I politely told them that it's their choice whether or not they want to see their grandchild, and I wouldn't force them. Last week, there were around 50 people to celebrate my beautiful child, most of whom were from my side of the family. Everything was nice and pleasant. My mother-in-law, father-in-law, and sister-in-law arrived as well. After that, it was time for the presents. As previously said, every family member gave my child a gold earring, necklace, bracelet, or coin. At the party, my in-laws began to remark that it was a waste of money to give gold to a small child, but nobody listened. They then criticized me for not telling them my family would spend so much money and accused me of making them look bad. I apologized, explaining that it was simply part of our tradition and that I thought they wouldn't be interested because they had never been. They complained to my husband, and he ignored them, but they still wouldn't stop. It started off as me trying to make them look bad, but they're now demanding that I give them some of the gold, as my daughter has no use for it and is meant to be shared with family. When my husband and I stopped picking up their calls, my sister-in-law posted on Instagram and Facebook about child cruelty because our daughter has her ears pierced and wears small earrings. I get that it's not common in the US, hence why everyone now thinks I'm torturing my baby. The thing is, I feel like I'm not in the wrong, but when I read all the comments about me being a horrible parent and using my baby to make money, it just feels bad. Not the idiot they're gold diggers who are actively trying to steal from an infant. Don't give them a second thought and block them, ignore them. Your daughter doesn't need them, seeing as she has such a wonderful family on your side. Honestly, this is the most literal case of gold digging I've seen. Totally agree, gold is meant to give children a secure future. It's outrageous that they think they can have a piece of it. If they were really concerned about the gold going to waste and if it wasn't for their greed, they could have asked the gold to be shared with other people, i.e., the parents of the child, the parents who gave the gold. But no, they are greedy indeed. Stop giving sister-in-law access to pictures so she doesn't have anything to post again. The gold is for the child's future. I still have my father's baby gold jewelry that was passed down to me and then my son. How dare they want a piece of that? My 25-year-old male wife, 24, gave birth to our son 2 weeks ago. My family has had the tradition of naming the child after the months of the year on my mom's side. My name is December. I've shortened it to Dec, hoping people will think it's short for Dean or something normal. My brothers are called August, not so common in the UK, and July, per guy. And my sisters are called April and June, not so bad. My wife and I called our son Tobias, and we kept the name a secret until after he was born. We signed the birth certificate, so it couldn't be changed. When we told my parents a week ago, they were most certainly not happy. Even though my dad has the nice, normal name of Alex, he liked the tradition. My sister June named her daughter March to keep with the tradition, so my parents expected me to do the same. My mom may continually have said that we should call the baby September for a girl and October for a boy throughout the pregnancy. I never outright said I was going to because I knew what lengths they would go to make sure my baby would have a month as a name. My brothers were on board when we told them, understanding the teasing they grew up with. My parents left after saying we were disrespecting my heritage by not following the tradition. I told them I wasn't going to name my child a ridiculous name because some old, long-dead crazy man decided months of the year would be good names. And just because my mom was stupid enough to join him in his madness didn't mean I had to. They stormed out and haven't spoken to me since. My sisters have said I should have just named him a month to keep the peace and that I'm an idiot for insulting my mom and her family. I feel as though I'm just looking out for what's best for my son. But my family seems to think my wife has brainwashed me into calling him something normal. Even though I've never made it a secret that I hate my name. Am I the idiot? Oh my good giddy aunt. Not the idiot. Your child, your choice. For what it's worth, I completely 100% agree with you, OP. Any month is a terrible name for a boy, and for the girls, only a few match well enough. Traditions like this deserve to be broken. Your dead ancestors really do not give two craps what you call your kids, and are incapable of any disrespect from you. Your parents are the only ones offended, and it's not your responsibility to keep the peace. It's theirs to respect your decision and to try to move past it and have a functioning relationship with you. Good for you for doing this, by the way. You are the idiot. You could have tried a different argument. You married your wife. She has a strong tradition of not naming any family member, even pets, to the months of the year. And you two indeed followed the family tradition, just not yours. Well, he'd be throwing his wife under the bus and causing his parents to be angry at her, furthering their speculation that she's brainwashing him. He just needs to come clean with the truth. They will not be happy until this child is October Pumpkin Jones. Parents are just angry because their son and his wife aren't doing what they want. You can't call something a tradition that's happened once.